Hi, everyone. People are still kind of filing in, so we'll begin the meeting in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you everyone for joining us. This is our final ZagTalk. Hard to believe, school starting in just a few weeks here. It's been a short summer. And we're super excited today to talk about student development and leadership. And today we have two guests, Dave Gilbert and Pam Alvarado. So I'll let them introduce themselves and then take the floor to share some wonderful information. So take it away. Thank you.
Pam, you want me to go first?
Sure, Dave, go for it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Gilbert. I'm the director of the Center for Student Involvement, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what all of that means here in a little bit. But I've been working here at Gonzaga for 15 years as of about 1 week from now. So kind of a fun milestone, and really looking forward to talking to you more about all the wonderful things that we do here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Alvarado. My pronouns are she, her, hers, ella, and I serve as the director of the Payne Center for Leadership Development here on campus. And I also help oversee transfer veterans, returning adult students, and first generation college initiatives. And happy to share more when we get to that point.
Perfect. So we can just jump right into it. So whoever would like to go first.
Okay, I unmuted, so I'll go ahead. Yeah, like I said, I work with the Center for Student Involvement. And so I'm going to share my screen here and go through a little bit of PowerPoint and talk with you a little bit about all the cool things that we do. And then I'm going to touch a little bit too on why we think that kind of involvement in extracurricular activities is significant. Except I was talking and not sharing my screen. So can we see my screen? Are we seeing a slideshow? All right, thank you. Neat. So this is me. Besides working at Gonzaga, I love being outside. So that's me kayaking, taking photos in Utah, and I have two little boys I run around with. Here in the Center for Student Involvement, we have about 7 staff members, depending on how you count. Really awesome team. Some folks that have been here for a really long time, and some new folks, some Gonzaga grads, some folks from outside of the program. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but know that there's an awesome group of people that are hard at work supporting all the wonderful programs that we have. At a really high level, here's kind of a list of what we do. So first and foremost, we have a lot of student-run clubs that are part of student involvement here at Gonzaga. They range really widely, and we're going to talk more about them. Part of that is club sports. So we have a pretty great club sports program. Student body association is part of student involvement. Student media, so yearbook, bulletin, and some journals. Spike nights, which is weekend programming. A money mentors program. The Kennel Club, which is, like the booster group, the athletics boosters, and then an outdoor program. Not technically part of the Center for Student Involvement, but I'm going to mention it a little bit while we're here. So clubs and orgs, they come in a whole lot of varieties. Some of them are really truly run by students, dreamed up, created, and administered by students. And then some of them are connected to departments. So maybe an engineering themed club or something that have to do with dance or athletics or some things like that. So they may be connected to a department. And within all of those clubs, there's a lot of different levels of involvement that are available to students. So they could come to a couple meetings. They actually maybe would just go to an event, not even be a member of the club, but just attend something that the club is putting together, all the way up to being the treasurer, president, vice president, maybe an event chair if they really want to host putting something together. So it can be 1 hour a year, or it can be 10 hours a week, depending on the level of involvement. We have staff and faculty advisors for each club. So they have a contact within the university that hopefully has like a real passion and connection to that activity and can help them, make some goals and execute some plans, have events, and hopefully make change. A lot of the clubs at the university are really advocating for changes either within the university or more broadly. Some of the broad categories of clubs would be, we have like sort of environmental sustainability clubs. We have other advocacy clubs. We have things like cultural clubs that things like the Black Student Union. So we see a flyer for one of their events here, or Asian American Student Union, Hawaiian Pacific Islanders. So some different cultural clubs like that. And then club sports. So those are all technically clubs. And just activities clubs. So if there's things that folks are interested in, just in their personal lives, there's a club often in support of that. So you'll see there's a Harry Potter club flyer there. Club sports, they're all clubs, but they're worth mentioning kind of as their own category. Most of our varsity sports have a club sport component or like parallel. They are run by students. They have to pay dues and fundraise to support their club activities. We have 14 competitive sports clubs. So that's generally what people think of in sort of a more traditional trying to go out and win kind of sports sense. But we also have 8 recreational clubs, recreational club sports. So those are things like skiing and snowboarding, or you see a photo of the climbing club. So things like that. They do a lot of travel. And so that's a big way that we support them is by helping them book flights, get group discounts, book hotels, things like that. Overall, with clubs, we usually use a number around 140 clubs that are currently active on campus. There's more than that have been dreamed up by a group of students that are passionate about something and then have, sort of sunsetted themselves. But we usually have about 140 that are real active. So the Student Body Association. There are about 60 students that are directly involved with the Student Body Association, and they're kind of broken up into 2 groups. So Senate are elected, they are volunteers, and they really serve a direction setting and oversight function for both GSBA and also the university at large. Oftentimes they're making resolutions for things that they want to see the university do or do differently. And so they have, there's some sort of levers that they can pull to help guide the direction of the university. As an example, last year, we had a group of senators and some of their friends that weren't happy with the way the university was addressing allergies and students' needs in terms of safety around that. And so they did a couple of their own programs and events, but they also passed a resolution regarding supporting students with allergies on campus. So those kinds of things where they want to see something change on campus. Parallel to that, there's an executive side, and they're the group that are often really executing events. So things like concerts, things like diversity, equity, and inclusion events, other marketing things, other weekend events, like going up to, there's actually an area outside of town called Green Bluff, where you can go do U-Pick stuff and have hay rides and things. And so maybe organizing events to go to places like that. And those are paid positions, so that there's about 35 of those in a variety of different roles on campus. Again, there's some flyers from some of the things that they did here last year. So elections and surveys, coffee house is like a Wednesday night on campus, small venue concert. And then Nick Estes is a, First People's rights advocate who came and spoke on campus and had a really powerful message about the intersection of Native American sort of culture and capitalism. And it was a pretty amazing event. Student media is another part of student involvement. Gonzaga Bulletin, so that's our weekly newspaper on campus, the Spire's yearbook, and then 3 journals. So one that's focused on art and poetry, one that's focused on scholarship and opinion, and one that's focused on culture and diversity. All of their publications are completely run by students with a couple of professional staff to really help facilitate those things happening. Spike nights, Friday and Saturday nights on campus, weekend programming. We really are on like an activities model. And what I mean by that is at some universities, you're going to have more performance model stuff. So things like having a magician come or having a concert or a comedian, that kind of stuff. We tend more toward things where you could come and like learn how to paint or cook something or, you know, plant some succulents into a pot and take them home with you or those kinds of things. Pam's laughing because the succulent thing is always a really big hit. So yeah, so that's Spike Nights. Money Mentors is a financial literacy program, and that's supporting students making good financial decisions and understanding both where their money in college is coming from and where it's going, and then also having some understanding of some basic financial things for right after they graduate. And then the Kennel Club. So this is a club like a lot of other clubs, but it's worth mentioning it is the largest club on campus, and they do a lot of events. Gonzaga is a fairly athletically inclined university. There's lots for students to do who aren't interested in those things. But a lot of students do get involved either with intramurals, club sports, or varsity sport, or attending things. So the Kennel Club really grew up in support of men's basketball, but has branched out quite a bit. And so they support all of the varsity sports at Gonzaga. But yes, there is still a big focus on men's basketball. It's a big deal here at the university for sure. Lastly, Gonzaga Outdoors is a separate program. It's an outdoor recreation program, and it's part of student involvement in the broader sense of a place for students to go and get involved and to have leadership opportunities. So most of the trips are led by students. The office is staffed with a lot of students as well as 3 professional staff, but really a heavily student involved program. We have pre-orientation programs. We do trips every weekend, usually 2 or 3. Lots of books and maps and website memberships and things like that, as well as a bike and ski shop and a lot of rental gear. So we have over 1,000 items available for rent down there. So that's a little bit about student involvement and ways that students could get involved directly with our office. But there's a question of why, like why do we want students to be involved? First and foremost, why do students say they get involved? Well, primarily it's to make friends and to have fun. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We would never, I like to say that having fun, learning, and working hard are not mutually exclusive, right? So if students want to come get involved because it's fun, they're still going to have all kinds of great opportunities to problem solve, make decisions, set goals, and try to reach them, communicate with each other, and build community and do all of those other things, which are some of the other reasons students say they get involved. So create positive change in the world. We talked about some of the clubs and places where they might do that. Find a niche, find a place where they belong and fit in and can contribute. Some of them want to be able to put club president on their resume, and that's awesome. I mean, we support that too. That's a meaningful way to be involved. And then to learn new skills and fill up their time. And, so those are all some really great reasons for students to come out. It's really been shown that being involved in things helps students do better at college. It feels like it would take away from other pursuits, like it would inhibit their ability to be successful academically. And we find that that's just not true. That because it gives them something to be passionate about, because it gives them an outlet for them to apply what they're learning in the classroom and then bring experiences into the classroom, it increases their sort of sense of well-being, their satisfaction overall with the university. And it gives them opportunities to make decisions and take risks and try things and get feedback and do all of those things that are critical growth things that maybe you're not going to get an opportunity to do it as much in a classroom. Although we are working on that too. Experiential learning is definitely a growing thing, both in and out of the classroom. It also helps students transition into college. It's a challenging time. And I'll tell you, for me, I was not worried about coming to college at all. I was just excited. And then a month in, you kind of wake up one day and realize like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm living here. This is a real thing. And so to go join an intramural team or go to mission and ministry or go visit with Pam in her office, which she's going to tell you all about, those are really important outlets for making that transition to the university. It actually can also help with stress reduction. It can be stressful to be the president of a club, but there's a lot of other ways to get involved that are great outlets for reducing stress. Most of these are not in our office, although being involved here can be great too. But, going to G Outdoors, going on a hike, going and working out, going for a run, and just spending time with friends. People forget that having a really meaningful friend group that's a way to be involved at college. Here's some links that aren't, I don't know, are we going to make this available to everybody later? Anyway, there's some other programs here at the university that are other really great ways to get involved. And I encourage you to look all those up. And I think maybe there have been sessions on those at other times. But I think that's it. We're not doing questions now. We're going to come back and do questions at the end. Okay. Well, great. Thanks everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to your questions here later.
Perfect. Can folks see my PowerPoint? Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. So yeah, that was great, Dave. Thanks for sharing all things CSI and all the goodies you were able to share about the other areas. It's always exciting to share with families, with students, the work that we get to do, and of course, how you can get involved. So again, I'm Pam Alvarado. I'm here in the building where we're housed. It's Hemmingson. If you are in Hemmingson, stop by. We always have snacks. People love snacks. They always say, y'all have really good snacks. So if anything, stop by for a quick snack and a hello. And again, we're located in 203, right above the welcome desk. And that's where Payne Center for Leadership Development is located. As I mentioned, I oversee this area. And of course, just with like any of our other areas, what is the purpose of our office? The purpose of the Payne Center for Leadership Development is to empower and prepare all students for lives of leadership and service that affect positive change. So that's really our goal here in PCLD. We work with a variety of different student leaders and students who may just come in, and that is perfectly okay. And that's what we want, because we understand that as you start journeying here, you may not have your pocket just yet. And that's okay, because we want you to stop in, get to know what's available, how you can get involved, and learn more about our office. So that's our purpose. I'm going to click to the next slide. The framework that we use in Payne Center for Leadership Development is one that I love and that I value a lot. So once upon a time, I am a storyteller, folks, so I hope that's okay. But when I was in grad school at Loyola Chicago, this was the model that we used. And I love this model. This model is based on values, and values-based leadership is so important, especially as we look at Jesuit education. And so this model is one that we've been using, that many Catholic Jesuit universities use in the work that we do with leadership development. We believe if you are looking at this on a big screen or even on a small screen, you can zoom in, but you'll notice that this model, all little words start with the letter C's. So we also have conversations around what those mean. But really, when we're looking at this model, one of the key elements is always understanding who we are first, and then engaging the work with others for then to be able to do that work as a society. And so we believe that when all of those are working together, we're working towards positive social change. We also find it so important to include how leadership is a process and not a position. That's something we continue to highlight through our work with students, how it's collaborative, inclusive, and accessible to all folks. And it's values-based. And so a lot of what we do here at Payne Center when we're working with students, when they come to our different spaces or sessions, is really looking and examining and reflecting on oneself. And then of course, looking at how does that impact groups and then the society at whole. And this is something we value. It's our framework. And we find it so important because other colleagues will also use, and other spaces will also use this model, but this is the one we use. And we read about it. Some of us have we've had the opportunity to meet the folks that created this model. So anytime I'm on a call with Susan Comovez on Zoom, she doesn't even include that she's Susan Comovez because everyone knows she's Susan and she is social change model. So it's always exciting to reconnect also with colleagues who started this work. It's humbling. So with that, I also like to share that we are a smaller team, but we're very excited because President McCullough did approve a new position. So we are super excited that we will have, it'll be a team of 3 of us. So there's a mystery person because we're still hiring. So this position is vacant. We also have Dosh, who recently graduated from here and is working here as a program coordinator. So happy that she joined the team. And then of course myself there. So this is the pro staff, but we always give credit where credit is due. And this work would not be able to be done or possible without the support of our student leaders. The student leaders in Payne Center are known as Payne Fellows. And we have a team of 5 students that work in the office. We have 2 students who work solely with one program called Eli, which I will tell you a little bit more about here in a minute. We also have 1 Payne Fellow that works with our Living Learning Community collaboration with Residence Life, which is called Learns to Lead, and that's in Coughlin Hall. We have 1 student who focuses on office support marketing, and then another student who also focuses on office support and special projects. What could special projects mean? Customized sessions, maybe we're working a little bit more closely with student government, or perhaps we are just looking at a new initiative such as male engagement on campus. So just to name a few, first-generation college students in leadership. So that would be it. But we would not be able to do this work without the students. This is a picture from almost a year ago, right before one of our big conferences that we call Fall Community of Leaders, where we host about 220 student leaders from across 10 different areas within the Division of Student Affairs and Academic Affairs. And so of course we were masking then. So here are the students that were working in the space. And so yeah, this is also our office in case you were curious as to what that looked like. Here are some of the events that folks can look forward to. Just like many of our other colleagues, we have already prepared our calendaring for this academic year. And so I've split this up based on semesters, right? We have a fall semester and a spring semester. And so we have the PREO, the COL that I just mentioned. So these are conference style opportunities for students in positional leaderships. We also have a variety of retreats. We have, and I'll get into this, so that's why I'm just going a little bit more quickly on this. But we have an identity, a leadership and identity series that I'll tell you more about as well. We do some programming with first-gen students, and of course, always customized sessions because folks may come and we might be able to do that a little bit more when requests come through. And again, very similar to what we do in the spring, but that's kind of like our at a glance for folks are curious of what they can expect within PCLD. I'm going to take a sip of tea, folks, before I move on to my next slide. All righty. So Eli, so we are the home of the Eli program, the Experiential Leadership Institute, and this has been an awesome program for many students who have participated. It has a legacy. It is an opportunity for students who are second-year students to find a community to be a part of. And it is so exciting to share with you all that when I arrived 3 years ago, we were doing a little bit of work. How is this working? Is it meeting student needs? Are folks, participating and getting what they're needing out of this? And we also acknowledged that there were some gaps. And so it gave us an opportunity to not only provide this experience to sophomore students, but also to junior students. And so again, you are now, if you were to apply, you would get to connect with, again, 25 to 35 other mentees and have an awesome year, talk leadership, grow. But one of the most rewarding things with this program is not only are you continuing to build your leadership. Not only are you able to connect with other folks, but you're having an impact in the community. One of the wonderful things this group of amazing students every year gets to do is they get to brainstorm an idea. How can they make change here on campus, and then sometimes off campus? And one of the, again, most rewarding things in having this now be a year-long program is that students decided on a project in the fall, and by the end of the academic year, they had already accomplished their projects. You might wonder, well, Pam, could you give us an example of something students have done? Yes, once upon a time, students decided they needed to know more things on how to adult. So they put together a how to adult fair. They brought folks from different banks. They brought folks who could help them understand different aspects of adulting. And then most recently this year, students were interested in literacy. And so what they decided, the students, was they wanted a little library. So a couple blocks up the way in that direction, as I'm pointing, there's a little library, and it's a free resource. And we are now doing book drives to make sure we'll have enough books for folks to stop by, grab a book, read it, and of course, bring it back, and then, take another one. And so it's been really exciting because these are projects that are making an impact in the community that students are passionate about. And it's all student-led, and it's really exciting to see all of that. And again, there is an application process. Many of our wonderful student leaders, we have one Payne Fellow who started in the program as a mentee, then moved on to be a mentor, and then became an Eli Payne Fellow. So it's so rewarding to see folks who love this work, who want to stay involved and want to give back. And of course, there are commitments, but you all see that bullet point there, so I didn't go into that one. Another awesome aspect of the work that we get to do is we get to work closely with Housing and Residence Life. So we work closely with Learns to Lead Living Learning Community, also known as L2L LLC. And so what can folks who are in this LLC expect? I would love to, even if you just put something in the chat, if anyone from this group is going to be a part of L2L, because we do have a retreat coming up. And so it's always nice to know if there are folks who are going to be a part of that. And so we have a variety of different programming that we offer for this community of students with L2L. So we have a leadership retreat. We will also provide monthly programming. We will have our annual dinner with President McCullough, who is right there. And this, we had to take, different pictures and all of that, but this is the one that I chose for today. And then, of course, leadership conversations. We'll engage in a variety of leadership conversations, maybe over a meal, over a snack, over something, right? We'll just get together and have some conversations. And then, of course, our end of the year celebration. We'll usually get something yummy catered, be outside, have some awards, have some awesome music, and just have a really good time and conclude our year together. So just wanted to highlight this awesome work that we also get to do. And of course, as I mentioned, all of this is not possible without the support of Payne Fellows. So kudos to them. Our identity-based leadership series is, again, something that grew from a former supervisor, an idea that I think was sparked in higher ed and leadership, and this was before my arrival. And so what we do with these sessions is we look at leadership, but we look at different topics. So for example, we'll have leadership for students who are going to become journalists, students who identify as part of the white community, and how are we doing this leadership work, and DEI, intersectionality, leadership for Asian and Pacific Islander communities. But then we're also looking at leadership and like community organizing, right? Because that's also leadership. And so looking at also underrepresented identities and leadership roles. And so wellness, leadership, and Jesuit values. And so how do we do that? We bring a panel of folks from the community, sometimes GU community, and they start engaging conversations with the students around, again, the topic. And we've had a lot of success. Students really seem to enjoy it. This is usually on a Monday or a Wednesday at noon, and a meal is provided. So that way you don't have to, be running in the car, grabbing something and then coming to the session. So we take care of you in that way. And then lastly, I just wanted to share, maybe some of you on this call may identify as first generation college students, but we also do the work. We believe it's important. And so just wanted to share with you all that on November 8th, we do celebrate the National First Generation College Celebration Day, and it's a national day recognized by the Department of Education and so on. So it's exciting. And if you do identify as first gen, we have some cool buttons, we have some pens, and I believe some stickers. So we look forward to sharing those with y'all. And there we are. And again, if you want to connect with us, please send us an email, pcld@gonzaga.edu, or as I mentioned, stop by. We are right above the welcome desk, so 203 Hemmingson. I'm going to go ahead and stop because that was the end of what I had, and we look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Pam and Dave. So yes, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. Anything student involvement, this is your chance. I mean, before you come to campus in a few weeks.
All right, well then I've got a question. Oh, never mind. Good work, James. What is the process for educating incoming students about all the clubs and activities that are available on campus? That's a great question. So there's a couple of things that we do to help students sort of pick up on some of these amazing offerings that are here. And one of them I just happen to have pulled up so I can show you. It's ZagTivities. And as much as everybody kind of groans when I say like, it's a website, yay, everybody loves websites. There's a lot of information available on ZagTivities, and you can just Google ZagTivities. It's Campus Labs is like the provider, and they help us kind of manage a lot of our club activity and a lot of our events on campus. So if you look at kind of what I'm sharing, you'll see if you go from the ZagTivities front page, you can click on either like organizations or these events, and you can search for all this different stuff that's going on campus. So where I was on this events page, and I'm scrolling through this kind of fast, but you can really find out a whole lot of what's going on campus. And you'll find pretty quickly that there's a lot going on campus. Some of these things are for members of specific clubs. Some of these things are even for staff and faculty. But I mean, we're only into the second week of school, and you can see how many things have already been input into ZagTivities for folks to check out. So ZagTivities is a really great resource, both for finding clubs and for finding events. We also have a club fair. So that happens Friday, September 9th. And it's during the day. If the weather's good, we line up along kind of the main walkway on campus. And individual clubs and some of even the programs like Gonzaga Outdoors or GSBA, which is not technically a club, some of those programs are going to have tables too. And so students can walk up and down there and chat with members of those organizations, get to know a little bit about what's going on and how they can get involved. So Club Fair, 10 to 2, Friday the 9th, really, really great opportunity. And then we also usually with that have some stuff for, some activities, things, and some other stuff going on. So check out Club Fair. And then lastly, on Tuesdays out of our office, we send out something called What's Up GU. And it's a distillation of these events that are posted in ZagTivities that we just sort of send out in sort of a newsletter format to students so that they can kind of get a sense of what's coming up. Usually it reaches out into like the next couple of weeks, and then might include a couple of really big things that are, just beyond that horizon. And the university wide has a similar thing called Morning Mail that goes out every day and has a real wide variety of things to do. Now, reading a daily newsletter from your university doesn't sound like a lot of fun, and you don't have to do it every day. But it is one of those places that if you're looking to get involved, start clicking on that regularly, and just real quickly, you can kind of scroll through it and see what's going on. And then you can, go look at past days and things like that. Pam, do you have anything to add on ways people can find that stuff?
This is great, Dave. No, I was just thinking activities as well. And of course, just advertisement around campus. But yeah, but this is a central, awesome location. Dave, I would jump in with some of the questions, but I think you got the answers.
Oh, okay. All right.
Those. think those are, yeah.
Okay, let me scroll through a couple of these. What was the president? So intramural sports at Gonzaga are run through the fitness center. We have, like a field house with 3 basketball courts and like a workout facility and a pool and all that. That same fitness center also runs intramurals. And I don't know a ton about the sign-up process, but certainly you could go to the Rudolph Fitness Center and just ask, and they would be more than happy to help you figure that out. And it's all online. You just can go and like find your friend's team and sign up for it. Lots of different sports, some very traditional: flag football, volleyball, basketball, softball, things like that. And then some slightly weirder ones. So we have pickleball, we have it's like inner tube pool basketball. So there's some more sort of funner, quirky things for those who are more out for a good time and a little bit less interested in winning. And then there's also tiers within that too. So even if you are playing basketball, you don't have to be the box out in the paint kind of personality if you want to just go be on a recreational level team and go play. A pretty high percentage of folks, students, participate, and so it's fairly easy to like find a team and get involved in and some of that kind of stuff. So if that doesn't answer your question and you have a slightly more specific one, go ahead and throw it in there and I can circle back around to it. Kennel Club is a fascinating question because you should definitely sign up for it, but you don't have to. So you get a t-shirt, you get to go to some events, you get a newsletter, and you get an opportunity to kind of participate in some things that go on like maybe before a game or on campus as a separate event, sort of like a what I guess I would have called a pep rally 20 years ago. I don't know if that's a modern term or not, but anyway, those kinds of things. If you want to participate in those, you do need to join the Kennel Club, but you don't need to join the Kennel Club to attend sporting events. That's a common misconception. And so I just want to make sure that you're aware that they're separate. You can get student tickets to sporting events without joining the Kennel Club. But it is a lot of fun, and it is the largest club on campus. And they do kind of some cool stuff besides just being loud at basketball games. So 1, 3. So the question, what is a reasonable amount of clubs for students to participate in? Is there a limit for how many students can join certain clubs? The reasonable number of clubs is, I said 3, but that's arbitrary, and it depends a lot on what your passions are and at what level you're involved. If you're the president of 3 clubs, that's too many. If you're just going to some meetings sometimes and showing up to some events, you might do that for 6 clubs. And particularly, I think a trajectory that I think is really positive is, as a freshman, as a first-year student, go and participate at sort of a participation level in 6 or 8 clubs over the course of your first year. And it's pretty likely that one of those is going to grab you. And then maybe that whittles down to participating in a couple of clubs and then being an officer in one club and really being involved there. Or maybe 2, or maybe 1 and being part of GSBA, or maybe being an ambassador. So like the ambassadors at Gonzaga are the folks that lead tours. So maybe you be an ambassador and then you have to work. So you're only really doing that and then you have a job. Maybe you only have a job. And that's reality for some students. And I espouse being involved, but there's a component of what is feasible for students that has to be realistic. I will really recommend that as parents or as students that you take a little bit of a scientific approach and really think about what is working. So after a semester, look back at what made you feel better about college and what just felt stressful for you. And trying to kind of suss out where the value is and what you can contribute meaningfully and what's just taking from your time. But 3, most clubs don't have an upper limit. So there are some that you have to apply to. There's some other programs you have to apply to and be accepted. those are kind of the exception. In general, if you want to be involved in a club, there's probably a spot for you. Yeah, by and large. Pam, do you want to speak to getting jobs on campus?
I can speak to the knowledge that I have about it, but
Yeah.
I probably could use some support too. So folks, one of the documents that we do have on our website is leadership opportunities. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please know that this document is being revised still currently, but you can find this on the PCLD website. And so these are some of the leadership opportunities where, again, our phenomenal Payne fellows have gone, connected with folks. And again, as you know, it's dated, so that this needs to be uploaded. We're actually making changes to our website this week. So if you click on it, it might look a little bit different. But this is it's not all opportunities, but it's many of the leadership opportunities. But maybe someone else can maybe chime in into the process of getting a job. I know we've moved from one area to another one. I think Zag's Ignite from something else, but I'm just sharing leadership opportunities right now, right here. But this at least gives folks an opportunity to decide, okay, maybe I'm interested in working and I don't want to make anyone dizzy, so I better choose something quick. GU Outdoors. And then maybe they're interested in knowing if the position is paid. I probably should have stayed on the first page, folks, because clearly we need to revise our document because it doesn't follow what we're trying to do. So the position is included, also compensation, a little bit of the description, the duration, hiring and training dates, and of course, it gives you a contact person. And also, how are you going to learn more about it? Here it says application on Zagtivities. So what Dave has shown already. So again, this is one way students can go about pursuing. Again, some of these are paid, as we noticed, and some of them are volunteer opportunities. But I know there is a board. I think it's Zag's Ignite. I don't know if Jim is also on the call or if someone else can help us out, but I know there are ways for students to, I'm going to go ahead and stop if someone else is trying to share. Yep, someone just typed in Zag's Ignite link and yeah, about how to go about getting jobs.
Nice. Yeah, there's Zag's Ignite and also the student involvement, student employment office is part of financial aid, and they can be very helpful in terms of
Dave,
identifying
your employee list. So you might want to, I don't know what you're trying to show us.
What am I showing?
Maybe I don't know what you were sharing.
In any event, there's a there's a student employment office, and they're pretty helpful, and they can try to identify some of those things. And they may ask if you're there's a financial aid component to being an on-campus employee potentially, and so that's part of why that lives in the financial aid office. There's a lot of student positions on campus, and so if working on campus is something that you're interested in, it's probable. Oh, tickets to games are free for students. If you want to attend an athletics event on campus, obviously if you go somewhere else, you will have to pay for a ticket. But to go to a game on campus is actually free, which is pretty crazy. Oh, I think there's a question for you there, families.
Yes, this was recorded and we'll be posting it on our YouTube page in the coming weeks. And our YouTube page is just Gonzaga New Student Family Programs. If there are any other questions, please feel free to ask them.
It felt like kind of a concluding question, but let me thank you all for coming and listening to Pam and I talk. It's sort of geeky. We love this stuff, and we really know that the classroom academic component of their Gonzaga experience is absolutely critical, but it's not sufficient. And we are thrilled to be able to kind of provide some of these other outlets for them to learn about themselves and grow and learn about the world and maybe how they can contribute to it and what wonderful things they can take from it. And if you have any questions, certainly Center for Student Involvement, Google us and send me an email or come stop by. We're also in the same building as the Payne Center, and we'll be thrilled to see you whenever you show up.
Yes, thank you. And we hope you stop by Payne Center when you come to campus.
Well, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for Dave and Pam for your wonderful presentations and all the knowledge that you shared with all our parents and families. Again, thank you all for joining us, and we're so excited to see everybody in a few weeks.
And thanks for hosting us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.